Hey, this is Natalie. I'm here with J Tiles over here at the Banks booth here at SEMA, and we're just going to learn a little about our newest product out here you guys got out here called the Ram Air Cover, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's our Ram Air diff cover, and we received our patent 2 Mondays ago on this cover.
Wow.
So this is about an 18-month-long kind of exploratory process we went on, where Gale Banks asked the question, do these flat back covers, like the one right here, do they do anything, or are they just bling? Everybody has one. Every truck in this parking lot at SEMA has one. We pass one every day on the highway. Do they do anything? Because since the late 80s, guys have been bolting them on and listening to the tagline, more oil, cooler temps. Is that true? And we found out that it may not necessarily be true. So what we found out is these flat back covers that are oh so popular are causing you 1.5 to 1.8% fuel economy. It's basically enough to buy 2 of those covers every 100,000 miles you drive. And it costs you more to fill them up because they require more fluid. So what we discovered is that they have awful fluid dynamics. And if you look at our graphic here, well, I don't know if our camera can see it, but a flat back cover, sure, it does take some of the oil up and over to the ring and pinion interface, but what happens when that oil makes its return visit back to the back of the cover? It hits it like a fire hose against a block wall, going in every direction and aerating it. So we've all seen waves at the beach or when they crash and it's white water. That's air in the water. The same thing is happening to your oil with these flat back covers. You don't want air in the oil, right?
Not right. We don't.
You want oil in the oil, right? It's supposed to have lubrication on the ring and pinion interface. So that's not happening as well as it should with these flat back covers. So the first thing that we did to improve upon that is we honored the factory curvature. So with our cover, it strictly follows the curvature that's in your factory stamped steel cover. But we added our ring gear raceway, and we added internal fins to take the heat to the outside.
Nice.
Along the way, so that was not simple, but we really perfected that design and made sure there was no aeration, right? But we looked at the airspeed, what's happening, how are we going to cool the fins on this thing? And we put anemometers, which is a wind air velocity meter with looks like a little miniature fan, and we put one in front of the differential, and we put one behind, and then we moved it back every 6 inches, and we went on the highway at 55 miles an hour, as if you're towing a trailer.
Okay.
And we loaded it down, and we found that at 55, just up front, we were getting about 32 miles of air speed. And right behind the diff, for 36 inches back, we're only getting 11 miles per hour of air. So it doesn't matter how amazing you think your cover is, it's not getting any air. It's like one of those old school home stereo amplifiers with the fins on the back, and you shove it in the bookcase and it gets super hot. And you're like, maybe I should put it on top of the bookcase to get some air. It's the same concept. So we've just designed the inside really well. What do we do for, how do we cool it? Gale came up with the idea, let's add Ram Air scoops. So if you look down on these corners here, or maybe, and we'll have the camera cut away to this later. If you look down here, there are Ram Air scoops that take that 32 miles an hour and jet it straight up 90 degrees in through the fans. So it's worked incredibly well, so much so that it is 5 times cooler than any of the flat back covers. It honors the factory forecourt fill level, which means that you're adding the same amount of oil that you did before, and it has a sight glass right at the forecourt fill, so you don't have to, there's no dipstick, there's no weep hole. You literally just bend down and go, we're good. You just look at it. And it, of course, has a 20-degree angled fill port to make it easier on top, and a drain plug on the bottom that are both magnetized. So it's pretty awesome. We're excited about it. So have a look-see.
Yeah. That sounds pretty incredible.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
No one ever thought you could spend this much R&D on a diff cover, but we're insane.
Yeah.
That's really awesome, man. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys seen one like this before?
No,
No, because it's all the new stuff. So
Makes
what do you...
sense, though. I mean, it's like cooling brakes or anything else. It's got to pull air.
Yeah.
That's it. It's all about cooling it off, right?
Yeah.
I think what we take away from this is there's a lot of little things in the details that we often miss. And then you guys just tested it out, and now we're like, okay, it does matter.
Well, you know what? We're not trying to be Uber to taxis, but honestly, when something is uncontested for 3 decades, and then you just ask the question, how does it work? Why does it do what they say it does? And then and we were putting up videos showing everyone the data, like here's what we're finding, and to the extent where we took one of the flat covers and we milled off the flat part and we put on a piece of acrylic and bolted it in and sealed it and put it up in the truck and spun it at 50 miles an hour, and it was hitting it with such force that I was holding the camera and I thought it was going to blow the acrylic off and cover me in oil. It was hitting this, it was, you know, I hope I didn't blow the sound man's ears out. Seriously, so loud, and you could see it hitting force, and you thought, there's no way this is good. And it went viral. It was on all over every blog and every magazine, and people thought, once you see it, you go, oh my God, maybe this isn't so good. So you think maybe those guys at GM and Ford actually knew something when they designed the curvature of the cover, right? So we honored that, like I said, and we're really proud of it. And so we got the patent. We have Gale has dozens and dozens of patents, but this one came through in less than 6 months, which is less than a third of any of our other patents. They knew we had something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I've
So-
never seen anybody do anything else with the diff cover. I mean, it's
I
just,
know,
it's
pretty
like
neat.
you don't
So-
think about it, but it looks good too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
do
looks
you
pretty
think?
mean, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, something we need to switch to.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Anything that saves parts.
Yes.
Save the parts.
After
Yeah.
watching your guys' YouTube video, I actually took mine off my truck and ordered a stock one and put it back on the truck. After watching Gale's video, I watched the one that you had with the acrylic in the front, and I pulled my diff covers off and put the stock ones back on it.
It made sense,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And we didn't know what we would find. We honestly didn't know. We hadn't started designing one. We didn't know what we would find, and it was just instantly obvious. But we had to go through the data gathering, and we blew up our dyno because we tried to run at 200 horsepower for 90 minutes straight. It was over 900 degrees, so we melted the dyno, like literally lit it on fire.
Wow.
We did all kinds of we found out the boiling temperature of the oil, which nobody would share with us. It turned out that AMSOIL was the only company that was willing to share deep data with us, so we actually teamed up with them. So we offer now our diff cover as a package with them, with a factory forecourt fill. But we didn't know, where does the oil boil? At what point does it oxidize? Where does it go bad? Where, like all these, we didn't have any answers. So we started sharing it with everyone, and like you go, oh well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does. And seeing it in the deal there, that you got to see that to really understand some,
Right.
the
Yeah.
flashing.
The
of it.
visuals,
Yeah.
the visuals definitely do help. So
Definitely.
we'll let this guy get some visuals now.
All right. Thanks for standing by, guys, and enjoying this.
Thank you guys very
We
much.
enjoyed what you've taught us and the education behind it. Oh my gosh, that was more than I knew about a diff cover ever. And I'm with you. I was on the old school training, having worked with vehicles in the past, and I always thought that was plenty. Mind blowing what you find out when you get into it.
Good. And a lot of what we do, Gale has always been about R&D and research and sharing the data. And so with our tuning devices, our exhaust pipes, our intake systems, whatever, we publish the data, and we know that guys are going to call us out. We know that if we say something makes X horsepower, that there's going to be a dealer or a fan that has a buddy with a dyno, and he's going to take our part and he's going to dyno it. And if it doesn't get what we say it gets, then he's going to call us out. So everything we make and publish is repeatable by anyone on the planet.
It's awesome. It's
Yeah.
astounding. I mean, you back it up. You know your stuff is what you say and sell it. And that's solid and test worthy. And yes, we do. All of us want to tear them apart and open them up. We want to take them out and say, hey, where can I prove these people wrong? And I want to know. Yeah,
Right.
Lots of curious minds out there.
Well, thank you for stopping by.
Hey Jay, thank you for the time. I mean, you're an incredible mind.
Yeah.
I love the way you teach. Thank you.